last time, what did we do? We fought over a giant supercomputer with Chad, and I basically said last time, I wasn't really vibing with it as much as Mega Man Battle Network 1. A lot of side quests. If you're a Sonic fan coming in here and you're like, what is Mega Man Battle Network? It's a game series RPG. Started on the Game Boy Advance. There's a whole Legacy collection that came out not too long ago. Device picking it up. You get like six games all in the Legacy collection. Pretty wild storyline. That's mostly why I'm playing that, and I guess like last episode we found out like we collected a sort of like a Pokemon style change. I'm kind of interested where that goes. And last series we were watching the Mega Man anime. I'm gonna hold off on discussing that until the end of the series here. Leave you on a cliffhanger. But this time, we're gonna be talking about I'm not even sure how to start discussing this. Lan and Mega Man, they're chilling on their vacation. It's half over. And, they get an email. And it's like, time to meet up at the Net Battler headquarters. And Lan's like, alright, let's go to Netopia. That's where it's at. And, hold on. I want to do some research of my own here. Because I saw something out. I want to double check this. Japan name. Alright. This is super live research. Netopia's Japanese name is called Amerope. Like American or America and Europe combined. So keep that in mind throughout me talking about Netopia. I want to double check that. So they gotta go to Amerope and compete in this net battling tournament, or I guess net battling headquarters, because they have some info to share about the Net Mafia, and they include an airplane ticket, I guess electronically, and you gotta say goodbye to Mom, and you go to Dad's work and they give you the passport, and Dad, he leaves you behind a silver fist ship, which is like how you operate in Mega Man, if you know. You also get an email from a guy named Mr. Famous. Honestly, he didn't live up to his name. He ain't too tough. I beat him on the first try. I also went and fought Dex. I beat him with... I forgot I had the Mega Buster on. And he gave me a Gutspan D2 chip. And then went into I guess it would be the airport, and after getting the passport. And Melu gives you Roll V2. No wireless, I'm not really sure what that's for yet. And at this point in the game, there's not really much of anything besides talking. But I was really picking up the vibes, you know, just going around talking to people. You know, I was getting immersed. You gotta put your ticket in the machine, you know, swish, click. You gotta pass through a security checkpoint. What? Can't talk. And they confiscate Lan's pet, PET, because of the Net Mafia. And they give him a mini PET. What the heck is a mini PET? They never really go into it, but I really wanted them to. I really did. And right on the next screen, you just get mugged. You get road forwarded. And I guess they rob you of virtual currency, if I'm reading it right. Unless Zennies are real money, I'm not sure how they rob you of virtual money, unless they're a good hacker or something. The next room, Chan's like, I'm actually such a high-ranking official. I managed to snag Mega Man back. And we'll talk about this later. There's a big-headed quiz kid, and it looks like a side quest. I guess it's not. If you got all his questions right, he gives you a cannon chip, and then you board the plane. I thought it would be like a whole thing once you board the plane. It just goes into like a SpongeBob thing, like 1 10-hour flight later. I was expecting more, honestly. I mean, they're hyping up this airplane flight for a good while, and then they just do you dirty with a SpongeBob 1 10-hour flight later. I wanted there to be like the Net Mafia takes over the plane and you gotta, I don't know, land the plane or something. You gotta stop them. I don't know what I was expecting. Like a carry-on. You guys watch that movie? It's like Die Hard 2. I was even expecting like a Die Hard 2 situation. I'm not sure. You didn't hear this from me, but carry on. It's better than Die Hard 2. Okay. Once you finally get to Neotopia, it like keeps autocorrecting to like Neopet Land or something. I don't know. But once you finally get there, they speak in symbols at first. That's kind of funny. And then Mega Man, he has like a built-in auto-corrector, I guess. But before you even leave the terminal, there's a guy, and he walks in, and he's like, "You need a ride?" And Mega Man's like, "That seems like a trustworthy fellow. Let's get in, man." And it turns out that guy's not an Uber. He's not a cash cab. But it's actually a robbery. Another robbery. We get in, and he like locks the cab doors. And he's like, "You ain't go nowhere until we get all your extra chips in your chip folders. We're being a highly specific robbery." And so we give him all of our extra chips. And so then we end up in Neotopia, and we have no extra chips. And then it's like, what are we gonna do? And we wander around, we find a hotel, and then once we end up in the hotel, that's when all heck breaks loose, playing like, you mega dummy. We wouldn't be in this mess if it weren't for you. And then he throws the PET to the floor, and it's like, I slip on my game development classes. Earlier, we're separated from Mega Man in the airport, and now we're separated from him again. I feel like they could just combine those two events. Yes, they were both cool events. Playing as Land alone, or playing as Mega Man alone, because, that's what you do for the majority of it, I guess. Or, the main draw of the series. But it's really interesting to not being able to even communicate with Mary. They did this a little bit in the first one during the electric dungeon. I feel like this portion could have been streamlined a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the plane. I'm not gonna let that go. There could have been something more in there. So we run into Higsby, and Higsby's like, you should go back to Mega Man. And it's like, that's a good idea. And we go back to Mega Man, and Mega Man's like, someone took our passport. Uh-oh, I barely fought him off. And it turns out someone did take our electronic passport. And, we have to search around in the town for clues. So, it's like, where we start first. So we have to talk to an old man. And the old man's like, go ask Jim. Who is Jim? And Jim is like a little kid in the alley. And he wants to trip the yacht earlier than the quiz kid. And then he's like, go talk to Raul. And I'm like, who is Raul? Raul is basically this guy who owns this radio, which is an access point to the net where our passport is. And just explaining it like that, it's like kooky. Like, there's a lot of entrances to the net, but our radio, or his radio, has the most optimal, I guess, entrance to our passport. And he's like, hey, I'll only let you use my radio if you beat me in a fight. And it's like, alright, man. That's your radio. I wouldn't let other people entering my radio either. Yeah, it's Thunderman. Thunderman is a little tricky. Thunderman throws out clowns. He always has 3 clowns out on the field at the same time. You can't make the clouds disappear either. Each of the clouds can send out static bursts. So, while you're fighting him, you gotta dodge the clouds, which are usually on your side of the screen. What I did was weave in and out of the clouds, hitting them with the occasional cannon, chip, or I think he even gets close enough so you can hit him with a sword chip. I've got the, electric sword. That's really good if he comes in close. I think it does 120. And then, you've also got the Gutsman version 2 and the roll chip. And then that's when I called it a day. We went to a different country. Mega Man and Land got separated twice. What could happen? And next time, I feel like We're about halfway through the game, maybe more. I'm not really sure, but so far I think it's picking up. But what did you think of the games so far today? Which did you like better? Let me know in the comments down below. And until next time, catch you later.